Hello, everyone. Welcome to the e-commerce podcast. Today, we're here in downtown Zurich at the Mondelez International Europe headquarters. And with us, we have Rossana Rizzotto and Lucia Ronchi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark.
So, I worked in a couple of those projects. So I remember some of the names even. So I admire the work being put on this. And it's no surprise. It's taking 5-6 years to set the vision, to lay the foundation, build it, and put in execution. So digital transformation and building digital capabilities is ongoing as a part of our consumer brand digital acceleration. Let's call it 6 years or so, as far as I remember. 6 years before, things were calmer, things were more manageable. Digital acceleration is a reality that we don't seem to be slowing down. So can you share a couple of examples, all these digital capability building, all these digital acceleration projects? Can you say that, okay, because of this initiative building, we made it available. This is the result for our e-commerce team. This is the result for our analytics team. Now we do things differently better.
Well, I think one of the best examples that I can share with you is a success that we are currently recording with a digital training program that we are having. It is a global project actually that we customize for Europe. As Rossana is saying, is you need to build the capabilities and digital skills for people in the organization, not necessarily only for those who are expected to be expert or are 100% dedicated to the digital business. Democratization of information and capabilities is the main goal that we have. Together with Rossana's team, but also in collaboration with external partners like the St. Gallen University or other suppliers, we were able to pull together a program that is really covering the core fundamentals of digital commerce for both the marketing community, the sales organization, those who are dealing with the execution, as well as supply chain, but also legal. So a boiled down to a pill.
Metrics pill or metrics CD.
But it's actually something that is making us very proud in terms of quality of the content, embedding most of the core concept and the way that the quality with which the program has been developed has been so well perceived by the organization that after, I think, 3 months since the launch at European level, we are now recording almost 50% of the sales organization adopting the training, which is a record high expectation, and 35 from the marketing community. And this is giving you the feeling of how appetizing the concept of being understanding digitalization and digital business and digital commerce.
I was just going to ask you the breakdown between teams and functions. You mentioned that 50% is coming from sales. And do you see also key account managers, sales directors are also enhancing their knowledge and expertise in other fields more and faster than the remaining teams?
Absolutely. And the main reason is customers are asking for that. And because of the kind of collaboration we had with customers offline, the expectation is that we are category captain for our categories, and the expectation is the same for the digital channel. So they are coming to Mondelez and to Mondelez organization asking for partnership, support, and joint value creation. So our frontline people are the ones who are receiving the question and then are asking the rest of the organization to be prepared, to be equipped, and to be ready for not only answering to the question, but anticipating the next level of questions, anticipating the next level of development, being it optimization of presence on digital shelf, visibility, optimization of assortment, as well as digital retail media, or, as you well know, the future application of AI. So all questions that our frontline sales are getting, and this is what I think is fueling the speed at which the sales organization is applying to the training.
And I'm going to bring it back to the digital content supply chain, because back in the days, let's not be afraid of revealing our age. I'm Generation X. We used to just call it product information management. Now we call it digital shelf content supply chain. And with those capability building, where do you see the most impact? Where do you see the most adoption in whole journey? Because it starts with product information, continues with contextualization, ends up with the measurement all the way to the beginning. Where do you see those capabilities impacting the most?
I mean, the first thing is you need to get your foundation right. Okay? Once that you get them right, interconnecting them and bringing whatever technology stack you have into an integrated platform where you can apply, advanced digital capability, being this automation, being this AI, and so on. So we are on the journey where we do have now a technology stack in-house, okay? So meaning bringing the knowledge back into house, owning your data and your content, as well as having an ecosystem that enables you to connect your external partner, being this agency, the work with you and so on, but getting control of that content and having your content in-house. What I see the opportunity for us is to make all of this very seamless. So the people, they almost do not have, and particularly the user community that we're trying to build, they do not have to become technology savvy, but is very transparent the way they connect and they do with that persona base, the role that you are asked them to do.
Well,
So that specific trends of making technology almost transparent for people is what we see the opportunity for automation to come on top. And orchestration is at the end of it.
now this brings me one of the best case examples of cross collaboration. I want to talk about commercial strategy building and JVP, because nowadays, last few years, we see this cross collaboration across those teams. And I want to include even supply chain into this conversation. So we have commerce, we have marketing media, we have data analytics, content agency, and number 5, supply chain. How all these capabilities and upskill team, more advanced knowledge and skills across the teams, allowing Mondelez brands to sit down to their JVPs, defining the commercial strategy cohesively. Because to Lucia's point, retailers are also doing similar moves on their end. They're also reducing the number of people attending JVPs with multiple skills and governance, and brands are responding to that. Can you walk us through a little bit about the new changes, new advantages, all these capabilities brought into the commercial strategy development and JVP preparation?
The core of the strategy is something that needs to be common to the offline. So it's the general strategy, commercial strategy of Mondelez, and is how embedded the digitalization or the digital commerce is within the general strategy is essential. So we started the development of this strategic approach through what we call Vision 2030. So this backward thinking, future thinking. So imagine or envisioning the target, the ambition that we have by 2030 and building it back in terms of building the right capabilities in order to enable the organization to be at the stage where we want to be. Having said that, breaking down the elements of the strategy that could enable the growth meant also to clarify how different parts of the strategy are part of different, as you were mentioning, different functions. So we're mentioning with Rossana the importance of digital content creation, which is in the hands of the marketing team and consumer experience. Then it comes to how to syndicate this content properly to the final customers, how to give visibility to the quality of the content that you have and all the set of information that are not just images, but text and other information through digital retail media. And then how these elements need to be part of the collaboration with customers through joint business plan, as well as how do you define, based on this common ambition and strategy, the offer that you want to give to customers and consumers, also in terms of assortment. So the development within the bigger frame of IPPA, also a part of assortment dedicated to e-commerce through what we call ePPL. So how to adjust or how to adapt the offer that we have for customers when thinking of online selling. And so all these elements is different elements, including also the part of capabilities building and skill upgrading is part of the strategy and is necessarily involving a cross-functional team and a cross-functional project.
And let me elaborate on ePPA real quick for our audience who might not be familiar with the term. Mondelez has been investing on e-commerce dedicated commercialization of additional products on the inventory for at least 5 years, as far as I know. And these ePPA products, e-com developed snacks, are making a difference and incremental revenue growth for many brands. Kudos to the Mondelez team for that. And what are your examples when it comes to the omnichannel sales strategy development with all these capabilities, especially fueled by data?
Yeah. I mean, on the specific of Europe, we come back into the complexity we start when we look at the market and what the customer asking us in the different markets. So the strategy that we have to develop was how we can accommodate all the specific, almost in a cake layer type of form, to say that you define what is your base, your foundational content, you make it available, trusted, complete, and then you build on top of it, because you will always have the specific into the different market that you cannot get out of it, because at the end of the day, the power is with starting from the consumer, but as well the retailer. And the reality that we see more and more in Europe is that really retailer coming together and the power of the retail towards producer. And the fact that you just need to respond, but finding a way that you don't expose yourself to be always running with iron fire, but you understand the trends, where this is going, so you can prepare yourself to respond. And I think that is the big shift we also did, from being very reactive to be proactive and create upfront in our internal capability the data that we need, so that when we are asked to, we are in a very easy way able to solve around it.
And I'm amazed we're into almost 10, 11 questions, and we didn't mention the magic word of the last decade or so yet. So I want to touch into a little bit of AI, because we have two experts here about the data, commerce, and artificial intelligence as being a lever or accelerator in that sense. Now we're talking about consumer. I want to drive it toward the consumer behavior, because I know Mondelez is very advanced when it comes to use some technological capabilities geared for consumer. And if you can share any examples of consumer behavior research, consumer behavior strategy powered by any technology, it doesn't have to be AI, how Mondelez is utilizing upcoming technologies to reach the consumer in the context they are in.
What makes a difference when you think of when you talk about AI, we need to distinguish between the generative AI, that is what is coming in these days, versus the other application of AI. Part of it is already daily work for us. So from machine learning to data management, big data management is already something that, exactly with the example that we were giving you, is already in place for Mondelez. But what makes me really proud of what is going to happen, is already happening in the US, is the development of a proprietary brand technology that is actually fueled through the information that we have from our consumers and from our brand, that will be the next level of generative AI application for Mondelez. It's something that requires a hyper care, and this will be part of the development that we will see in H125, starting from the US, but the second application will be for the UK market in Europe through Cadbury. And I think what is absolutely amazing is how can this upgrade the level of creativity that we have, the personalization that you will be able to do for your final consumers, and also how effective it can be in terms of quality of the communication. But another element that to me is very important and is reflecting the value for Mondelez is how accurate and responsible the build of these new technologies is. So through a committee that is dedicated to the selection of the information that you fuel the AI with, that can ensure that the development of the creativity will be absolutely in line with the company values. So this is why this will ask for investment in terms of money, investment in terms of time and people, and time before we can see a full expansion of the project and the technology. But I'm sure that they will be a game changer. And I think this will also imply that our organization will need to have a specific training for that. Because as you can imagine, when you have such a technology in front of you, it's really changed the way you apply to technology, from even the quality of interaction that you have today that might be a good approach in terms of problem solving, now needs to be evolving to problem framing, so that you can have the right prompt for the machine and have the right answer. So all elements that are really looking into a future, and what makes me amazed is that the future is in 6 months' time.
I know for a fact, both from overall Mondelez view and also individually for both of you, you guys heavily focus on upskilling of your teams. And it comes from both company strategy and also it comes from the personal leadership way of managing your teams. I can attest to that. Can you give us some examples, some of the most recent upskilling initiatives you started or you completed, where you bring people elevated from their previous skill set, previous know-how? What's cooking in the Academy of Mondelez?
Yeah, I mean, I can go first. I mean, in the space where I'm sitting, particularly in the data space, there have been two big investments. First of all, the knowledge of all the amazing technology that we have in house. You need to have an element of core knowledge within your team, and this start creating a very safe environment where people feel that the ability to learn and even to fail as you learn in that process is there because it's the environment that you create. And then big investment on, certified people on those technology. We have been doing a huge investment as well in certified data professional. I think many of you might have heard about DAMA, which is the body of knowledge around how you manage data. I was the first one taken together with the team, the certification, because you need to do it to yourself. Part of your leadership style is how you lead by example, feeling that there is nothing wrong to go back to school at any type of your career. You need to be at the stage. We are non-native digital, but we lead digital, we lead those capabilities. So you need also to inspire. And the other important aspect is how do you create the space of mind for people to continue be learning agile, continuous, because being inquisitive, being curious, and you can be curious in many ways, even, listening to podcasts, amazing podcasts, you build your acumen, but then how do you create also the space to continue invest on this as people that have their day job and their night passion? So that is something take times and effort.
No, I think Mondelez is doing a great job in terms of making it reachable and available for the employees. But yes, personal side is costly.
Yeah, and you have to do it at different levels. So the choice that we made was to start with a digital commerce community. So the leaders in the local business unit to be trained and to be made expert through a program in collaboration with external universities, agencies, and other kind of collaboration. And then, as we were commenting earlier, to democratize the knowledge, and so bringing it to a wider level to the whole organization through this certified 101 digital commerce training. And it actually has required, I need to thank the rest of my team. So Laura De Lucas, Megan Gaffney, Catherine Lalande, and Richard Hausego. They are all been investing a huge amount of time in preparing the material, in building the delivery to the teams. But this is actually paying back. The higher level of engagement that you can perceive from the organization is visible, and the better understanding and the increasing appetite that you were mentioning is also visible through the adoption of this training and growing the skills and capabilities there.
It's really motivating. It's really motivating, and people I can see and I can tell from the back in the day, people are really yearning for more opportunities like this and improving themselves because of the quality of the education available at their hands. Now, wow, time flew. We're approaching toward the end of our conversation, and I had great time, but now I have a request from you. Please bring up your Palantir, okay, the fortune or future telling globes, and tell us what you see on the horizon when it comes to data analytics or overall data applications and digital commerce. What do you expect to see, or what do you want to see in those areas? And give a little bit of tips to the audience, please.
Already the exciting words that Lucia spoke about is a world where data are democratized and do not becoming any longer a privilege of a small group of people. So that availability of data, but as well the insight that you can create with those data, it needs to be a capability at the hands of the business. So that is my vision. And along with that, obviously, there needs to be a very seamless ability to develop way working that are different from the one of today. So that ability to combine the availability of data with the way people approach and work, it has fundamentally the power to disrupt then our life. It's the simple things on how those disrupt our personal life. Digital AI, it will completely change our way of working. So that is what is exciting in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully, as a practitioner of data or frontiers and practitioners on the field, we're going to be making some mark for the future generations joining the workforce. That's my hope. Thank you very much for joining e-commerce podcast. I was very delighted to be here today in Zurich at Mondelez Europe offices, and I hope you had good time as well. Until next time, we appreciate your time and all the insights you share with us, and it was really great to be with you. Thanks for a very insightful conversation.
Thank you.
We had Rossana Rizzotto, Global VP of Data Management and CIO in Europe for the Mondelez, and we had Lucia Ronchi, who is leading the digital commerce in Europe. And I'm looking forward to another round coming back here to talk about different topics. Thanks for tuning into e-commerce podcast, and until next time, stay ahead of the curve.